The number one killer of a sale isn't a bad product, it's a confusing message.
We live and breathe our own products, right? We're so close to them that we totally forget how to talk about them in a way that an outsider can understand in like 5 seconds.
But those heavy words, the vague, jargon-filled ones, they just get ignored.
Welcome to the men's shop where style meets purpose, to dress the modern human and make a positive impact. I mean, what does that even mean? The cognitive load here is like 100 pounds. The lesson is so simple. Clarity sells. Now, before we get into what they are, it's really important to see where they fit.
Hey, welcome. Today we are diving into a really simple but super powerful strategy to make sure your customers don't just hear you, but that they actually listen and, more importantly, take action. Let's jump in.
So, does this feel familiar? You're out there shouting from the rooftops about your amazing product or service, but it feels like you're talking to an empty room. It's a huge frustration, right? But the reason people might be tuning you out probably isn't what you think it is. It's almost never about the product itself.
And this quote right here, this is the absolute heart of the matter. See, the number one killer of a sale isn't a bad product, it's a confusing message. If a customer has to burn even a few calories trying to figure out what you do, they won't. They'll just click away.
Okay, so if confusion is the big bad enemy, why are so many of us so confusing? Well, it's something called the curse of complexity. We live and breathe our own products, right? We're so close to them that we totally forget how to talk about them in a way that an outsider can understand in like 5 seconds. Now, this is a really cool concept, cognitive load. I want you to think of your words as having actual physical weight. Seriously, some words are light, they're easy for the brain to just pick up, but other words, they're heavy. They're full of jargon and abstract ideas, and your customer's brain is just not interested in that kind of heavy lift.
And this slide just lays it all out. We all fall into this trap of trying to sound clever or professional, but those heavy words, the vague, jargon-filled ones, they just get ignored. What we're shooting for is zero cognitive load. We want words that are so clear, so simple and specific that they're basically weightless.
Let's look at a perfect example of heavy messaging. This was a real line from a men's clothing store. Welcome to the men's shop where style meets purpose, to dress the modern human and make a positive impact. I mean, what does that even mean? The cognitive load here is like 100 pounds. I just want to buy a shirt, not solve a riddle about the meaning of life. And the impact of getting this right is massive. Check this out. A coffee shop consultant ran 2 different ads for a course. The first one used a vague, heavy phrase, coffee shop chaos. It got 18 clicks. The second one used a super specific, zero-loaded question, losing baristas. That one got 125 clicks. That's a 600% jump just from being clear. The lesson is so simple. Clarity sells. So, how do we get that kind of clarity every single time? Well, there's a really simple, repeatable framework that uses 5 sound bites. Now, they're not actually magic, of course, but they really do work like magic because they're built around the way our brains are already wired to pay attention. Now, before we get into what they are, it's really important to see where they fit. These sound bites, they're the foundation. They are phase 1. Their only job is to create curiosity. Once you've got their interest, then you've earned the right to explain the details and ask for the sale. So many people get this completely backward. They ask for commitment before they've even made the customer curious. All right, let's build them. The framework for crafting these 5 essential sound bites is called PEACE. It's a super easy to remember acronym that's going to walk you through the 5 messages you need to create. Okay, let's just blast through this. P is for problem. This is the hook. Our brains are hardwired to notice and solve problems. E is for empathy, which creates trust almost instantly. A is the answer. That's your product. C is for change, the transformation you're offering them. And finally, E is the end result, the happy ending. Theory is one thing, but let's see how this plays out in the real world. We're going to use this awesome example from Wob, a money management app that totally nailed their messaging with this PEACE framework. First up, the problem. Wob decided they were going to own one single specific problem, that feeling of worrying about money. This question immediately sorts the audience. If you've ever felt that pit in your stomach, your brain just goes, "Yep, that's me," and you are instantly paying attention. Next, empathy. And look how simple this is, but it is so powerful. It's just a simple phrase that says, "Hey, we get it. We understand." This simple sentence turns WAB from just another company into a caring guide who understands the struggle.
And then comes the answer. Notice how incredibly direct this is. It's not some vague thing like, transform your financial future. No, it's a clear, simple instruction that tells you exactly what to do next. There is zero confusion here.
Now for the change. This adds a whole new layer. It's about personal transformation. You're not just downloading some app, you're on a path to becoming a totally new person, someone who is good with money. This makes the offer about identity, not just a tool. It's so much more valuable.
And finally, we have the end result. This paints this beautiful, compelling picture of the future. And you see how it perfectly closes the loop? It goes right back to that first problem, worrying about money, and promises to get rid of it forever. That's a powerful, powerful motivator.
So when you put all this together, what kind of vibe are you putting out there? This last metaphor, I think, just ties it all together perfectly. I want you to picture your business as a house that a potential customer is walking up to. If your message is confusing, your business looks like a haunted house. It's dark, it's confusing, there's no clear path to the door, and customers feel unsafe. So what do? They turn around and they leave. But when you use these 5 clear sound bites, you create a beautiful, welcoming home. It's easy to understand, the lights are on, and customers feel invited and safe enough to come inside. All right, so what's the bottom line? Here's what you need to remember. First, confusion is your #1 enemy. Your goal is always zero cognitive load, and you do that by owning one single problem for your customers, and then using those 5 PEACE sound bites over and over and over again. Repeat them everywhere until your customers could give your sales pitch for you. And that really brings us to the final thought here. The very first step, the most important one, is deciding what ground you're going to stand on. So I'm going to leave you with this question. What is the one specific, nagging problem that your business can put a flag in the ground and say, we own this, we solve this for our customers? Figure that out and you are on your way.